Hi, thanks for joining our Ask Me Anything segment about eBridge connections. For those of you that are not familiar with Blair, Blair is our product manager and he is driving the product strategy for eBridge connections. And I myself am Eric and I am on the marketing side of things. You've probably been bombarded by emails from me over the last several years promoting eBridge. Um, as you guys may or may not know, eBridge is a universal iPaaS, so integration platform as a service. We operate as a subscription model type of solutions that helps you connect your business systems together. But I'm sure Blair can do a better explanation than I can on how eBridge actually works.
Yeah, from a top level, really, eBridge sits in the middle of two opposing sides. So it could be something like a web store, let's say Shopify or BigCommerce. It could be a channel like an Amazon Commerce Hub who deals with EDI documents from drop shippers. If you're trying to drop ship something from Costco or Home Depot, we handle that as well. It's really taking the data from, let's say, the left-hand side, where we're taking data from those different pieces, like a Shopify, BigCommerce, Commerce Hub, bringing it into our system, which we're going to be able to normalize that data. So what that means is that on the other side, there's many different types of data that we're able to retrieve. It could be EDI data, it could be JSON data, it could be just regular XML or a flat file, or even from a database. And those data points will be different in format in relation to data like a unit of measure or a address. Formatting will be different across all those different systems. So how do you make sure that that data comes in consistently to something like a QuickBooks, like a Sage 100 system, like a Microsoft Dynamics system? That's what our system will do. It'll take that information, bring it in, sort it, manage it, normalize it to a standard format for things like orders, shipments out of a system to a destination, product inventory, adjustments into a web store, and make sure it's consistent across all your platforms. So you can have a mix of e-commerce, EDI data, Amazon related data, and multiple instances of each of those. So it's not uncommon to have somebody or one of the larger customers that would have 60 plus trading partners that are all going to one single system, and the source of truth is basically managing all that data through our system.
Yeah, and several other questions were relating to kind of like what the benefits of eBridge are. Like for me, the top three benefits that I see for eBridge are you're eliminating that manual process of doing all that, so you're mitigating any errors that might have. You're kind of automating your data across your business systems, whereas your marketing is already automated, your shipping might be already automated, so you're helping your business leverage automation even further. And then you're also ensuring that your data is accurate. So you're avoiding those things that might kind of tick off your customers. So you're avoiding stockouts. You're able to present more detailed reports. You're able to understand what your order levels are instantaneously. So you're able to kind of predict demand and supply and be able to accommodate those things. So you're actually having product to sell, proper things are being shipped, and all that stuff. And with that, like the needs of every single business are pretty much different, but with e-commerce or selling at retail, there's a lot of core commonality between these businesses. So when someone comes to eBridge, what are the most common workflows that they want to integrate that you see?
So obviously the most common workflow across the board, no matter what we're dealing with, whether it be an e-commerce related integration, an EDI or drop ship, even sending data to a third party, a 3PL logistics, that will be orders. So orders, obviously you can't really start your business without orders coming in from some source. So orders are always the most vital piece. And obviously that's the piece that drives the other processes, whether you're pulling shipments out of a ERP off an order, sending an order to a third party to fulfill for a drop ship, and then that shipment comes back so you can have the tracking information. At the end of the day, the orders are the most important piece. Now, from an e-commerce perspective, there's kind of four pillars. There's the orders coming in. We usually do shipments coming out. So obviously you have to tell the customer on a Shopify or BigCommerce or WooCommerce site that the order is being completed. Here's your shipping and tracking. And that manages that flow. Now, the other two pieces would be inventory, which would update inventory values from the ERP, because if you're selling across other channels, you need to be able to have an accurate reflection of what you have in your warehouse or warehouses back to the web store or web stores. And then thirdly is the fourth pillar is going to be product. So, if you add a product in your ERP to push that information, if you change the description, change pricing, that will be reflected in your web store, whether it be Shopify, BigCommerce, or WooCommerce, or going to another source if it's again a vendor that you're dealing with, giving them price updates or inventory updates as well. These can work in multiple fashions across different platforms and different types of systems, but at the end of the day, those are the four pillars of an e-commerce integration, and those follow along EDI integrations as well. There's obviously other pieces, refunds, returns, those play a part. Those are more important now with a lot of people using e-commerce, and those integrations are also what we perform as well.
Yeah, especially now people are shopping online and buying things that may or may not suit their needs. They see it online, but then they want to return it. So that helps the merchant streamline that operation of their business, and that's really crucial in providing great customer service. So another question is like, the eBridge platform does handle a lot of different systems, but how much volume can eBridge handle?
So volume is always something that's critical, especially around this time of year, just past Black Friday, coming up to the holidays, Cyber Monday. The unique thing about our system is that we can scale it. So no matter where we are in time, we can provision additional server resources, additional CPU resources to get us past those spikes. So for us, being in the e-commerce business since basically its infancy, being in manufacturing, dealing with EDI since almost 30 years ago, volume to us, because we're dealing with small fragments of data, be it EDI, XML data, we can process tens of thousands of records a day through our platform for an individual. And again, if things get to the point where it's something like a Black Friday, we can provision additional resources to span across our system to manage those additional, how do I say, additional threads across our network.
Yeah, so we're there to handle the volume that you have. So don't be afraid of selling more. The more you sell, we can handle that. We don't punish you for your success, so that's a good thing. So when someone's looking to set out on integrating their systems together, what do they need to know before they kind of journey into launching an integration process?
So much like if you're trying to design a system or come up with a process in-house, it's good to have an idea of where you're at, where you want to see yourself, and how you're going to get there. Now, for us, we can definitely assist with making recommendations, best practices on how to institute processes across your systems. But at the end of the day, eBridge is really that middle piece that's going to manage the data flow. So depending on where you're connecting, if it's an EDI trading partner, obviously there'll be testing with like the Home Depots or Costco's of the world to make sure that data is coming in and out of your system correctly, and they're able to read and identify that data, and that's what we'll help with. If it's an e-commerce platform, obviously if you already have a store established, that makes things a lot easier because you already have knowledge of how things work and your order process. So it's just a matter of taking that and automating that across your ERP. And of course, if you don't have something already set up and you're working with an agency on designing a web store, coming up with a new process, that's where we can lend assistance and say, okay, let's start at this block and say, let's get orders in, let's get maybe inventory and shipments to your web store. and then we start to build upon. Because our system is modular, we can start with individual workflows, as simple as just a sales order coming down from a web store into your ERP or accounting system. And then we can build upon there. You don't have to go through and buy a package, a web store package or EDI package that has 20 different workflows. We can start at the base and build on that base. So your investment to get into the game is marginalized. It's very minimal. And then as you build your business and get used to things and manage how things are going to be managed, then we'll build and grow with you. And of course, like I said, if you already have something established and you know you're doing thousands of transactions a day or a week, and you know your return practice and everything's manually being done, or even if you have another integration system and you want to switch, that's something we can help you with and basically get you running within a short period of time.
It's really crucial to understand where your business is going because you can kind of also have a roadmap of what systems you're going to add as you grow and scale if you're going to upgrade certain versions. So it's good to have that roadmap set so then there's kind of no gaps in systems not being integrated because we can address that easily and help you kind of connect those systems before you push the go live button. So eBridge already has a lot of different connectors on the ERP, e-commerce side, and EDI trading partners. But someone's curious how they can leverage eBridge to create integrations to new platforms.
Yeah, so eBridge has a number of different ways that we can communicate with systems. So we do use standard out-of-the-box methods like REST APIs for web stores and integration systems. But at the end of the day, what we do is we look at our business, how we want to grow and how we want to help you grow, and what it's going to take to get you to that point. So a lot of the times, especially in my role, will be to identify a market, identify how we go to market with a certain integration. And over the years, that has been crucial to our growth because we started, like I said, with an EDI provisioning and managing EDI. As web stores, e-commerce started to grow, we added multiple web stores to integrate into. And then we started to add multiple workflows for all those different systems to manage things like refunds, returns, quotes, different processes. So really what it comes down to is identifying what you're looking to do, how you're looking to do it, and coming up with a solution that's going to be good for you and then good for our business moving forward. So that's where we would end off with that.
And then we kind of have a more technical question that deals with files and EDI. So someone is looking to see if we can map space-delimited flat files to an EDI file.
Yeah, so the other thing that we're really good at is taking things like a flat file, typically called a CSV or tab delimited, could be comma delimited, somehow a pre-formatted format that we can take, remap into an EDI, XML, any type of format that we need. It could even be dropped off as is into a system that could be picked up and consumed by the accounting or ERP system and brought in and create an order or create a document. So our system can do SFTP, FTP, a number of different ways to push and pull data, but we also have a SOAP API, which you can push or pull data directly from our system, or we have the pre-built connectors for many different systems, which would take the data directly from a source such as a Shopify or BigCommerce or a Commerce Hub system.
Yeah, it's good that we can process data in many different ways because in that way we're not forcing you to alter how your business operates, and it makes it more seamless that way. And then we had another person who was kind of looking at kind of a more technical separation or definition between two different integration terms. So do you see that if there's a difference in defining data integration versus application and system data integration, or are these just little subcategories of the integration space?
So really what it comes down to, it's all data. So whether we're dealing with data from any source that's a commonplace, whether it's a database source, it's data. Now, where that data goes and where that data lives is really where we can define how that data is used and manipulated and managed. So that's really the difference between the two. What we specialize in is to take that data from two different systems or two same systems and manage that back and forth and translate that data. So at the end of the day, it all comes into our system as data. How that data is sliced and diced and sent over and managed and procured. Obviously, some of that is up to the end client, how they want to manage that. But in our system, we try to keep things consistent. In fact, we do keep things consistent with a standard XCBL XML format that we can transform back and forth, which really adds to the strength of our offering, because that's really what keeps everything consistent and allows us to transact the volumes that we do.
Yeah, that's good that we're able to translate and kind of create a universal language for data to be communicated between systems. And we have someone who is currently in the market for a good e-commerce and accounting system combo, but the solution that they're looking at right now is kind of out of their price range. Um, so based on all the work that you've done with eBridge, what do you see as two great pairings of, say, an e-commerce system and an accounting ERP package is kind of able to help people dominate that space that's not too expensive for someone?
Well, the nice thing is that eBridge works with many, many different systems, and they all offer obviously different advantages depending on where you are at and where you're at budget-wise. So there's kind of two trains of thought here. A would be budget and what you're able to afford today. So obviously budget systems such as QuickBooks or Sage 50 are where small to medium-sized business would operate, and a Shopify store can be had for a monthly fee and you manage it yourself. So you could be up and running on a very low cost. Obviously, we also scale. So you could be looking at something, a custom site, whether it be BigCommerce, Shopify, or Magento or something to that effect, and scale up to a NetSuite enterprise type system, Microsoft 365 suite. We go from basically the budget to the enterprise. So depending on, and we use the same technology to manage everything. So it doesn't affect us whether we're dealing with an enterprise system or a budget system. We can work with either, and we'll try to work within your constraints, not just as a business, but your budget as well, because we understand that everybody, and of course you could be starting out at that budget system, and we've seen this over time that people grow into a larger systems and larger systems as their transaction set, as their business grows, which we could easily do even within the same subset. So your Sage systems, obviously there's a progression. Microsoft, there's a progression in different systems leading up to those enterprise systems. So it's something that obviously you can talk to our team about, get a feel for what your price range is, and they can fit a solution for you.
Yeah, and the best part about it is if you're a small and medium business, you can leverage those same capabilities and those same efficiencies that more people on the enterprise side are leveraging when they're running like a NetSuite or Dynamics 365. Even if you're running just a simple version of QuickBooks, you can still get those workflows in there to create those operational efficiencies in terms of orders, inventory, and shipping. So we also had a lot of questions about what systems do we actually support. People name dropping things like eBay, Amazon, WooCommerce. So I know that there's the Blueprint Builder, but what's the best way for someone to figure out what systems eBridge actually supports?
That is obviously one of our best resources is the website, is the Blueprint Builder. Also, obviously talking to one of our account reps. That is another good way to get an idea of what we offer. But ultimately, you know what you have, you know what you're working with. And from there, we can talk about a solution and where we can have the starting end for you and where you're at right now with your business. So obviously, if you're doing one order a day, it may not be a good fit for you. But if you're doing 50, 60 orders a day, you're going to feel a certain amount of pain that you're trying to enter that data, trying to enter tracking information. trying to manage this process. And our team of experts can work with you, suggest. We have a slew of different partners from, obviously ShipStation, Commerce Hub, Shopify, BigCommerce. We work with all these different partners to help you manage the integration. And that could be at a very simple level or more complex level where we're dealing with drop shippers, 3PLs, more complex business systems, and just breaking it down for you and helping you understand how we can play a role moving your business forward and alleviating that stress on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, our mission is to help you do business the way you're doing it, but just easier, simpler, and allowing you to free up resources to focus on tasks that actually matter in terms of growing your business. Like, there's no need you should be coming into work every day at 8, 9 a.m. and doing a bunch of file exports just to maintain a certain level of operational efficiency. With automation and integration, you can have that automated for yourself. That pretty much sums up the questions that were submitted for this round of our eBridge AMA Q&A. If anybody has any other questions, simply go to our website. We have a contact us button in the top corner. You can submit your questions there and we can get those routed to the right resource. I know a few people submitted questions in relation to specific system integrations, or if we support certain regions, and those have already been passed on to the appropriate contacts at eBridge, so you should be getting a personal outreach from someone on our accounts team to get kind of more information, understand that. And then, as Blair and I both mentioned, we do have the blueprint builder, so that has every single system that eBridge supports right now. So you can map out your ideal commerce integration solution that way. And you can get down into the molecular level and even see the line items inside the workflows that we can map out for you. So Blair, thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule. Hopefully this was really beneficial for our audience, and they got to learn a little bit more about eBridge connections and how integration can help streamline their operations. Yep,
My
thanks.
pleasure. Thank
No
you.
problem. Have a good one.
You too.